Everybody, welcome to another WOFOYO short. This is C-Dub. In our last full episode, Bones and I were discussing Exodus 19 and 20 and the idea of drawing near to the mountain, but yet understanding that the Lord has set boundaries. But before that, before the whole thing happens, the Lord tells Moses, bring them near. I've called them to be unto me a nations of priests, a kingdom of priests. The priest is one that serves God first and foremost, and then secondly, serves their fellow man. And we always got to keep that proper alignment in doing so. A lot of the error we see today is because people get so attached to serving people that they put that priority over serving God. And that's one of those ways you establish those boundaries. The whole nation was called to be a kingdom of priests unto God. The whole nation is called to serve God and to serve their fellow man. But of those that are going to do it as profession, how many is that? Well, Aaron was of the tribe of Levi. So it was the Levites and the priesthood that belonged to Aaron. That was the tribe that was set apart for the service. Now, what is that? Now, the numbers, some tribes were larger, some tribes were smaller. But if you're just dividing it overall, if you have 1 out of 12, what is that? Get your calculator, have 1 divided by 12, you're going to get like 8.33 or 0.833. It's going to be basically 8.33%. So out of all the people that come to a knowledge of Jesus Christ, how many are really called to do it as a profession? 8%? That's still a little bit high. Now, how many are called to be priests unto God and to serve God and serve our fellow man? All of us. Now, that being said, priests had different jobs. And again, that was the Levites was just 1 out of 12. That number gets really, really smaller when you focus on the lineage of Aaron. That being said, everybody had their functions. Everybody had certain duties they were supposed to be doing, but the whole nation of Israel is called to minister. Well, guess what? They had occupational specialties. They had things they were good at. Some of them were good at warfare. Some of them were good as merchants. Some of them were good in the maritime services. Some of them were good in agriculture. But you have all these different things that people are doing, but they're making it all work. Some of them were good in government. If you don't believe me, think about what Judah was called to do. Judah was called to be a kingly tribe. So, in all this, everything that they were doing was still their priestly service in serving God and serving their fellow man. So, if we get rid of those misconceptions that if I'm called to minister, then I have to go through seminary or Bible college. I got to go through this different type of training or that type of training. Well, you might be called to do that. You might actually just be called to minister where you're at. And there is very little that I can think of that is more kingdom minded than just simply being able to bring the love and presence and the intent and will of God into people's lives, exactly where you're at, where you work, into your family, amongst those that you might interact with that aren't going to hear it, ain't going to set foot in a church. If you can bring it in there, you're just as much in the will of God as somebody who's an ordained minister and is out there and maybe pastoring a church or doing one of the big ministry things. I'm telling you, the bottom line is being content, knowing what you're supposed to be doing, being content, and just having faith that if you do that right, when it's all done, you're going to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. WOFOYO.